Okay, everybody, we're continuing to get to know Pro. This is video 2. Let me open up the catalog here. And what you see over here is I have a new folder connection and a data folder that wasn't here before. You're going to have to go back to the classes drive, geospatial analysis, and find the South Lakes High School feeder schools zipped data file, copy it to your desktop, then extract it and make a folder connection to it so that you'll be able to do this, be able to add feeder schools 1 and 2. These two sets of schools are the schools that feed students into South Lakes High School, and this point here is just South Lakes. Okay, so you go ahead and do that. If you need to review that skill or any of that, go back to the prior video, video 1. Okay, so let's get started here. We're going to first start out by cleaning up our data a bit. There's a whole lot more data here than we need for addresses. We just need the ones that are for the South Lakes attendance zone. Oftentimes in the past I've come into this part of the, if I come from mapping over here to analysis, this list of tools often has some of the tools that I want to use. But this time it's sort of arbitrary, and it seems to be more of just a random sample of what you can do. So that's not a problem though. Let's see what's over here under ready to use tools. These are all, this is elevation and spatial. This is a lot of the same tools that are in ArcGIS Online and not useful for this. So here's the ultimate. You come over here to geoprocessing, just the toolbox, and we're going to type a search for a clip that we need, or for a tool. None of these project favorites, which is interesting because I've never done that. I don't know why it thinks it's a favorite. But let's do just type clip. And notice it's right there at top. And let me see, read a little description so you can tell what it does. Extracts the input features that overlay the clip feature. That's a fancy way of saying I want to clip out all of the addresses that are inside this feature. Okay, so here we go. Let's try it. Hit clip. The input feature data set, the one that we are going to get clipped, we're going to clip the addresses, and the clipping feature, the cookie cutter, is going to be the South Lakes zone. And the output, let's call this, instead of addresses or address clip, let's just call it SLHS addresses. Let's see. So I like to just go back to the slash. You can actually just delete the whole thing and type this in, but I just like to leave it. So I'm going to type SLHS underscore addresses. And then let's take a look at the environments. It's probably going to default, but I just like to try this. We'll do we'll use current map so that it uses the same projection as the rest of the map, and everything else is just more advanced stuff that we don't need. So we can come down to the bottom, click run. Okay, now if you look at your map, something looks like it went away and something looked like it appeared over here. See how I'm turning that on and off? So these are our new South Lakes addresses. Let's turn off the county addresses, turn that off, and we actually can remove it. And then let's move South Lakes High School attendance zone above so the line shows up better. And let's right click on South Lakes attendance zone and let's zoom to that boundary, or zoom to that layer. Okay, this would be a good time to save the project too. But wait until it finishes updating. Okay. Then come up to the top here, I've turned on this save bar up here. I'm not sure you're going to see that. Let me see if when you're in map view, you should be able to, well, if you don't see that, I can help you. You can also save here. You could just hit save right there. Or there's a shortcut up here, but if you don't have that shortcut, I can help you get it later. All right, so now you have this. And all right, so now we're going to add the feeder schools. Let's add feeder set 1 right underneath the boundary. You may not have seen anything because their dots are small, so we're going to change that. Click on the point that's underneath set 1. I'm not sure why this symbology is not loading for us automatically. It should. Here it is, though. It looks like we're having to manually pull it out. But anyway, we can click the properties here and we can change the color. Let's make it a green color, a bright South Lakes green. And the outline color can remain black. Let's try this. Let's increase the size. Let's increase the size of the point to let me see, that looks good. I'm at 7 point. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, maybe change it to a brighter green so we can see it better. Okay, so we have some bright green points here now for the feeder schools. We could label them if we want to, but that will make things pretty busy. All right, now let's add the next set of points. So we have to go back up to catalog on the right side. Right click on the shape 2, drag it down below the border also. Okay, for some reason that time double clicking on it launched the symbology, so it must just be slow. Alright, so let's change the color to the bright South Lakes blue and make the point size 7 again. Apply it. And so now we have the other set of schools. Now let me turn off some of these. Let's go ahead and turn off all these addresses for a minute so we can see these points. So we have, in fact, let's go ahead and label them now that we have space. So we can click on the first on the blue, on set 2, right click and label. And it looks like it, yep, those elementary school names got labeled. And we can do the same thing for the other elementary schools. Okay, I've left out Sunrise, or I'm sorry, I've left out Langston Hughes. Everybody goes there. Here we are. Oh no, there it is. This is in the green set. All right, so now these are 2 separate sets, and they're actually feeding one high school. And we need to add the South Lakes High School as well, so let's do that. Add South Lakes High School and change it to a big red star. Double click on it. There it is. Go to properties and let's see, we can actually, let's go to gallery. Click on gallery at the top there and let's find the stars. There we go, there's a star. Star number 3, let's use star 3. There you go, you can see the star 3 and we can click on properties and change that symbol size a bit larger. Okay, I changed it to 13 point and makes it a little bit bigger. There you can see it. Okay, now we're going to try a merge. This is where you have 2 sets of data. This is a very common tool to be used because a lot of data is collected in batches, and after it's been, customer data or voting information, crime data, it comes in waves and it has to be merged into a database. So one of the more common skills then is to go back to analysis and let's click on the toolbox. Come on. If it disappears like that, you can just go down here and where it says geoprocessing on the side. Open that up. We'll change this to merge. Okay, and there's merge, data management. Click on the bold-faced word. And we're going to input our data sets. So our first one is going to be dataset feeder schools 1. And immediately you notice that it gives you the option to choose another. And that's going to be dataset 2. And then our output, we're going to just call this, we're going to just change this. You can actually highlight over the whole thing like this, it won't matter. Okay, so we're going to call this SLHS underscore feeder underscore schools. All right, and not going to change anything here in the lower part of the window. Let's check on environments, and once again, I just like to make sure that it's going to use the current map so that everything has the same projection. One of these days I'll experiment and see if it'll do it automatically. Okay, so we're ready to run. Okay, so now you notice there's no blue anymore, just green. That's because the merge has taken place. If I can uncheck the 2 feeder sets and we still have the green dots. Okay, and you'll see I can turn them all, they're all part of this single set now. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove these feeder sets. I know some of you don't like doing that. You feel like you might need to use it again, but you don't. You're set. Okay, so now we've learned a little bit about how to access the tools. You might notice that there's tons and tons of tools. As we get into all these toolboxes, look at this. Defense tools, editing tools, geocoding tools, linear referencing tool. And if you open each of these toolboxes, they have some of these have there's some Python. They have a lot of tools in here. And some of these are, there's hundreds. And you will not learn but a few of them. Okay? So now we're going to try one more thing. Okay, so now we're going to create a buffer. Go over here to, on the right side, reopen the geoprocessing window, and in here type buffer. Click on the bold-faced word, and we're going to put a buffer around the feeder schools. Okay, and it's going to be a distance, it's going to be a linear unit, and our linear unit will be, and our linear unit will be miles, and the value that we're going to use for it is 0.75 miles, and we're not going to dissolve it, and we will go ahead and make sure that it has the right projection when it's output. And let's go back here for a minute. I forgot to name it. We'll just call it SLHS feeder school buffer. We'll keep that name. Go ahead and click run. Okay, so now we've got the buffers, but notice that they're all overlapping each other, or some of them are, and we just need the total. Let's say we were interested in the total area. We don't need all those circles overlapping. We could change that and make it look a little bit better. Right now it looks like a bunch of plastic coins stacked on top of each other. But if we try one more thing, just change this to dissolve all outputs into a single feature and run it again. And there you go. Now you've got it. Okay, so you're going to take a screen capture of this map and put this in your document.